Eamonn Holmes GB News co-star aims brutal jibe at presenter. Eamonn Holmes GB News co-star Paul Coyte joked that the former This Morning host falls out with anybody during an episode of their Things We Like podcast. Eamonn Holmes GB News colleague couldn't resist poking fun at him, hinting that he could fall out with anybody in a humorous exchange. The 65-year-old presenter has recently launched the Things We Like podcast alongside GB News Paul Coyte. In an episode featuring Irish boxing icon Barry McGuigan, they discussed Barry's stint on I'm a Celebrity. Get Me Out of Here. There he appeared alongside the likes of ofMcFly's Danny Jones, Radio 1's Dean McCullough and Melvin Odoom, Ireland's own Maura Higgins, and Coronation Street's Halsall. Barry, now a boxing promoter, kindly remarked on his experience with his campmates. They were all brilliant bunch of people and I get on with people. I find it hard to fall out with people. However, Eamonn joked he too gets on with people. Paul joked, I'm in the middle. You're Barry not falling out with anybody and Eamonn is falling out with anybody that is moving. Commenting on the challenges faced in the jungle, Barry highlighted the severe food shortage saying, I was starving and you weren't allowed any salt or pepper, or any condiments, it was like, oh my god. So I dropped 16 pounds in 21 days. In response, Eamonn lightheartedly suggested he might sign up for the popular ITV program, jokingly saying, I better go into that. I should join up for that. Eamonn has had quite a struggle with health and mobility issues. After a double hip replacement in 2016, his condition deteriorated further in 2021. Eamonn Holmes faced a barrage of health setbacks, with a slipped disc ordeal leading to mobility issues and, reportedly, a botched back surgery that has seen him wheelchair-bound since last year. The veteran presenter recently took to social media to share his latest mishap, writing, an unexpected journey this morning. Bit of a fall on the bathroom floor. Gosh, it hurts. Thank you, ambulance crew. Adding to Eamonn's string of unfortunate events, he seemingly took a tumble off his chair live on GBN Breakfast, with a resounding crash interrupting presenter Charlie Rowley mid-sentence. Shocked faces were aplenty as Ellie Costello, co-host on GBN Breakfast, reacted with an audible gasp while Eamonn assured everyone, I'm fine, 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 carry on, carry on. Charlie's attempt to regain focus was palpable, and following the episode, the show quickly switched to a commercial break. A GB News spokesperson reassured the public speaking to The Sun, confirming Eamonn was fine, and stating a discussion is expected post-incident. However, whisperings suggest that GB News honchos might be eyeing Good Morning Britain's Richard Madeley as a potential successor. The Daily Mail's Kate Hind wrote, Indeed, I've heard that executives have been having a look at Richard Madeley, an anchor on ITV's Good Morning Britain, as a replacement at some point. Eamonn Holmes GB News co-star takes brutal swipe at presenter who falls out with anybody. Eamonn Holmes was left red-faced after his GB News co-star took a brutal swipe at him and suggested that the former This Morning host could fall out with anybody. The GB News co-host couldn't help but take a playful swipe at Eamonn Holmes, suggesting he could fall out with anybody. Eamonn, 65, recently kicked off his Things We Like podcast alongside GB News compatriot Paul Coyte, and in a fresh episode, they chatted with the well-known Irish boxing icon Barry McGuigan. During their conversation, which revolved around Barry's experiences on I'm a Celebrity. Get Me Out of Here, they reflected on his time with fellow celebs such as McFly's Danny Jones, Radio 1's Dean McCullough and Melvin Odoom, TV presenter Maura Higgins, and Coronation Street's Halsall. Barry, who now works as a boxing promoter, praised his fellow campmates. He said, They were all brilliant bunch of people and I get on with people. I find it hard to fall out with people. In response, Eamonn lightheartedly claimed that he similarly gets on well with others, prompting Paul to retort, I'm in the middle. You're Barry not falling out with anybody and Eamonn is falling out with anybody that is moving. Further into the discussion, Barry mentioned that the toughest aspect of jungle life was coping without sufficient food, recounting, I was starving and you weren't allowed any salt or pepper, or any condiments, it was like, oh my god. So I dropped 16 pounds in 21 days. Eamonn seized the moment to jest about joining the ITV series himself, quipping, I better go into that. I should join up for that. Recently, the former This Morning presenter has battled health and mobility issues. Following a double hip replacement in 2016, his condition took a downturn in 2021. Eamonn Holmes experienced a series of health setbacks, starting with an incident where he slipped 3 discs in his back, which severely affected his mobility. Complications from back surgery last year have since left him reliant on a wheelchair. The broadcaster recently took to social media to share details of a fall at home that resulted in a hospital visit via ambulance. He posted, "An unexpected journey this morning. Bit of a fall on the bathroom floor. Gosh, it hurts. Thank you, ambulance crew." Additionally, Eamonn appeared to tumble from his chair during a live broadcast on GBN Breakfast last week. The incident occurred while co-presenter Charlie Rowley was speaking, and the sound of a loud crash interrupted the program. Rowley and co-host Ellie Costello were visibly shocked by the sudden event, but Eamonn reassured everyone, saying, "I'm fine, 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 carry on, carry on." A concerned-looking Charlie struggled to continue with his train of thought after the incident. Moments later the show went to an ad break. A GB News spokesman told The Sun Eamonn was fine, and said bosses would speak to him following the incident. It has however prompted speculation that GB News bosses could be prepared to replace the star with Good Morning Britain anchor Richard Madeley. The Daily Mail's Kate Hind wrote, "Indeed, I've heard that executives have been having a look at Richard Madeley, an anchor on ITV's Good Morning Britain, as a replacement at some point. Eamonn Holmes' health worries could see GB News replace him with ITV star." Eamonn Holmes could be replaced on GB News as bosses are said to be increasingly worried about his health, a report has claimed. Eamonn Holmes' position at GB News is reportedly under scrutiny due to concerns about his health. This follows an incident where Eamonn, 65, seemed to fall off his chair during a morning broadcast on the channel, causing a loud crash while presenter Charlie Rowley was speaking. Charlie appeared taken aback as GBN Breakfast co-host Ellie Costello gasped in shock. Eamonn reassured his colleagues, "I'm fine, 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 carry on, carry on." Charlie struggled to regain his composure after the incident and shortly afterwards, the show went to an ad break. A GB News spokesman confirmed Eamonn was fine, and said bosses would speak to him following the incident. The Daily Mail's Kate Hind suggests that show executives are now questioning how long Eamonn can continue to work on an early morning program, reports. She wrote, "What I can divulge is that his bosses at the channel are becoming increasingly worried for Eamonn's health, and how long he is going to be able to host his breakfast show, which begins at 6 a.m. and runs until 9:30 a.m. 3 days a week. Indeed, I've heard that executives have been having a look at Richard Madeley, an anchor on ITV's Good Morning Britain, as a replacement at some point. It's known that Eamonn has been dealing with mobility issues for several years, according to The Express. In 2016, he underwent a double hip replacement, but his condition worsened in 2021. Eamonn Holmes, the Belfast-born presenter, suffered a slip of 3 discs in his back, which led to a loss of mobility. Last year, his back surgery reportedly went wrong, leaving him reliant on a wheelchair. Just days before an apparent on-air fall, Eamonn was rushed to hospital following a tumble at home. He shared on social media, "An unexpected journey this morning. Bit of a fall on the bathroom floor. Gosh, it hurts. Thank you, ambulance crew." Eamonn is well known in the world of morning television, having co-presented GMTV's breakfast show from 1993 to 2005 before moving to Sunrise on Sky News. He later took the helm of This Morning alongside Ruth Langsford, forming a successful husband and wife presenting team for 15 years. However, in May 2024, the couple announced their separation. By then, Eamonn had already been recruited by GB News, while Ruth continued her work with ITV. Richard Madeley, 69, has also built a successful presenting career alongside his wife, Judy Finnegan, although she has stepped back from the spotlight in recent years. Richard joined Good Morning Britain as one of the 3 main anchors alongside former MP Ed Balls and Susanna Reid in 2022. Richard initially joined the cast as a stand-in for Piers Morgan when he dramatically left the show. Former Labour Party spokesman Alistair Campbell also served as a temporary host for Piers. GB News and Eamonn Holmes have been approached for comment.